Spoilers.
Spoilers. So, Falcon and Winter Soldier grand finale. This is, I guess, like just a little background. A bunch of librarians here are into different kind of media. So, kind of grabbing on the tailwinds of Turn the Page. Christine, our director, was like, "Hey, we should have like a librarian-focused side cast or somewhat to talk about some of the things that we enjoy.
We like watching.
Yeah, watching, because like libraries, they're not just books. Falcon and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So that wrapped, and we have lots of thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the finale's last week, right?
Yes,
we're 1 week out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we've had lots of time to think about it at this point.
I was gonna say digest it, think about it, read all the articles.
But there'll be spoilers in this, so for whatever reason, if you're
if
catching
you haven't
this,
watched it,
you might not want to watch or listen to this because spoilers.
Watch
Spoiler alert.
And then watch this.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, watch the episode first.
And then comment on your thoughts if you agree with us or not.
Yes. But this isn't like a deep dive or anything. It's just kind of like, I guess, like hot takes or just thoughts. So, I mean, we kind of talked about this just in general. So, were we surprised that Sharon was the pawnbroker? Oh my gosh, did I say pawnbroker? Sorry, power broker. I mean, she was kind of like, she gets things and she sells them, but power broker, if she called herself the pawnbroker, I don't think it would be.
Well, everyone else is a pawn because she's the power.
Yes,
yes. Got the pawns.
So yeah, is that a surprise?
No, I called it from whatever episode you first heard about power broker. I was like, it's totally Sharon.
Yeah, when Sharon was talking to Bucky and Sam, and she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have killed that person," you know, like the power broker's really mad. I'm like, "Are you mad, Sharon, because you are the power broker?"
Clearly.
So that wasn't really a surprise. But
no, I mean, if you've watching the show, it's not a surprise. I think if you were like read the comics, it's a surprise because in the comics it's a guy. It's not Sharon.
Yeah,
but it's 2021, so hey, you know, it's okay to be a woman and a supervillain or something, you know.
That's true.
And the power broker.
And yeah. So, but
the power broker,
right? Well, so it's like definitely confirmed at the end. Okay, or toward like 2/3 of the way through the episode, she's the power broker.
Mm-hmm.
But so since we're like kind of like on that end of the episode, okay. So, do you think Val has any is she involved in this at all?
She was so
I think possibly,
sly about it,
but I also think she's. Aside from whatever dive into my own fandom research of it, I have a feeling that one of the old groups is coming to make a resurgence, because if you pay attention to John Walker's new costume as U.S. agent, it's black and red. What else is black and red? Hydra. I think there's someone involved with that. I don't know to what scheme, but I think they are, because she's definitely not, you know, just working for
government.
Shield, the government.
Oh my God, I'm thinking
GRC.
Okay.
She's fun though. I read that when I was reading like behind the scenes stuff, because one of my like best friends and I, we like watching the shows together and then like talking about everything, is that she had to be taken, Julia Louis-Dreyfus had to be taken to set wearing this like hooded robe, so no one knew like who she was playing. And I was like, that's interesting.
She's like the emperor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she is kind of this shadowy person who comes back and out and is like, yes, you were totally mistreated. Let's talk about how you were mistreated and how you can be useful to me. But you know,
like the best decision of your life is contacting me and, you know, answering my call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But she was
I'm excited.
she was so sly about that at the end, because she's like, my plan couldn't have worked any better if I planned it myself, or did I not? I don't know.
Just joking, but not. I keep thinking whenever someone like a character does that, I just think of if anyone's watched Arrested Development, the mom Lucille, when she was like exaggerated, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, she was a character herself, like, but I feel like Julia Louis-Dreyfus has that whole aesthetic. I mean, you know, she has a comedy background, and then she's done things like Veep, which are silly, but, you know, grounded in that whole like government thing. So
she can pull it off. So it's yeah.
And I think she could probably play evil if that's officially the direction that she's going in, which I would be like super excited to see.
But that's totally where like John Walker, like totally, he fits into it too, because like he, you know, as like, you know, Captain America that didn't work out, but he like can be good, but he's got like this other side to him. So like he totally could fit into that crowd, and you know.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, and I also was kind of taken sort of aback by just how quickly they tried to give him a redemption arc. So I'm not really sure if that was like a real redemption, or supposed to be a real redemption arc, or maybe just like his last somewhat decent deed before completely going off the deep end, because now he's like put all of his trust in Val, and does anybody really know what her intentions are, other than I love the fact that like she's been able to somehow like put blue dye in her hair without it being ridiculously out there. I mean, she's got skills.
It works for her.
It works for her. Does. Yes.
I'm curious to see where it'll go, especially because to me it didn't feel like necessarily a redemption of that, like, okay, yeah, he's fighting Carly and the other Flag Smashers, and does he go after her or save, you know, the armored truck of government
GRC
people, the GRC people, and he, you know, he ends up redeeming himself by being like, all right, let's do the truck, let's do this. I think it just shows like, which to me, like a theme throughout the entire season was the morality and duality of people of like, okay, like you could try to do the right thing, but in the wrong way, or try, like, to me, it felt more like with that. I know other people, other staff members who have watched were upset with some of the writing of the show. I enjoyed it, but I think it, to me, it really shows that like, okay, like he was upset and kind of went down the path of, I'm gonna get revenge and avenge my fallen brethren Lamar, but then he's like, no, this, I gotta do this, I can't just go after Carly and, you know, get another Flag Smasher out of the way. I enjoyed watching that, to see that, and I'm very excited for whatever future for John Walker. Wyatt Russell, amazing.
Okay, so Carly, when she's talking to the other Flag Smashers, and she was like, I don't know, maybe we'll die, who knows? They all kind of seemed not as on board as she was.
I don't think they were on board of killing a whole bunch of people either. When she's like, come on, all right, one world, and they're kind of like, one people, maybe.
So we might be into this, but yeah,
I don't think that like they thought that dying and killing,
like, I didn't sign up for all of this, just, you know, the perks.
The super soldier serum was supposed to be
phone. That's right? Really what I was going for.
Yeah.
Listen, they just said free coffee and maybe a little revenge when I came to your meeting, and
you can't forget free coffee and donuts.
There was supposed to be pie here. Where's the pie?
But yeah, so yeah, but I think with Carly and John Walker, like she says to him, and I took notes when I watched it the second time. I didn't want to hurt people that don't matter. And that totally like triggers John Walker. And that's what he's like, so you're saying Lamar didn't matter? And he's like, and that's when he totally goes after her.
She's like, not to my car, or not to me, right?
And she says it like so matter of factly, and he's like, and that's when he like his head's like, I will kill.
Going into kill mode right there.
I mean, just like to say that, like, what? They're right. Like, like he got in the way of the mission, but just be like, yeah, no, he didn't matter.
Just collateral. It doesn't.
But it's weird. So, like, I don't know. It's like they partly made Carly like a sympathetic character, and yet she's not. Like, you know what I mean? Like a statement like that is like, well, yeah, a lot of people kind of like don't matter. They're not really part of this, but so like people do have to die so we can get our point across and get to where we need to be. One world, one people, yay. But that's it kind of doesn't work, and that's, I think that her statement of saying like, well, I don't, Lamar didn't matter, but well, no, but he does. A lot of people matter. There are issues with her. She at some point she is sympathetic, but or sympathetic to the audience, but she's not.
She's so she was so, I think, righteous in her own, like she was so self-righteous, and so like in her mind the mission was everything, but in the mind of the people who were even working with her, they were like, we didn't really think this was the direction we were going in when we agreed to this. I mean, one world, one people, but this isn't, again, like I said, like this isn't what we really signed on for. No, and she's monologuing. She's like, even if we die, our point gets, like you were saying, our point gets across. And they're like, uh-huh.
Yeah, we have enough people for our movement to go on. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I do agree that the movement's bigger than they were. Like, it definitely became that, as you see, like, from when it was just their group and, like, the refugees to, like, when they were in New York and it was just, like, look at everyone around us, like, all our power. It's interesting because she does start out sympathetic and you do feel for them of all this displaced from the blip. But as she kind of, gets more righteous and being like, this is the cause, this is what needs to happen, it doesn't matter if other people die, it doesn't matter if we die, like this is it, she loses it towards the end of the season, at least in the last 2 episodes, because she even says, she's like, yeah, you'll get your shot at Falcon, I don't care if he dies anymore. When she even had said to Sarah when she was on the phone with her, like, I don't want to kill your brother, but if he's in my way.
Your brother doesn't matter.
Yeah. Excuse you, Carly. Do you not know that his name is in the title?
Yeah, it doesn't say Carly and the Slag Smashers. It's called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you are not gonna.
It's not Carly and Bucky BFFs,
Yeah.
Yeah. I so like, even like Sam, he was, she was like, oh, you bought into all of this, and he's like, you should try. Yeah, I'm trying something new, you should also. I mean, that was, like they were both jaded, and he tried to meet her on those terms before everybody else messed it up a few episodes prior to that. But that just, it shows, like, he was like, okay, I acknowledge that there's lots of problems and there's lots of work to be done, and this isn't going to be perfect. And many people have told me why this isn't going to be perfect. This is also why I didn't accept the Shield to begin with. But you know what? Like, if we're just going to keep going in that direction, nothing's going to change, and we're just going to get another John Walker. And he didn't want to do that, so. Yeah.
What did you think about now I don't know if I should call him like, well, I guess I'll call him Sam, because I was like, I don't know, should I call him like Falcon? Should I call him Captain America? I don't know. But like Sam's like speech, to like the
that final monologue.
Yeah.
Felt a little forced, like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, like, it's like trying to get the point across and you're trying to do good, but it kind of felt like,
It definitely felt
like perfect for the cameras,
I wonder if he like rehearsed it beforehand.
Yes.
Probably. I mean, I do think it was necessary to at least like have him confront that senator.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could see that it went on a bit long.
America issue, yes.
Yeah.
But it felt like very.
He was monologuing. He was monologuing. I think like it's very, like you were saying, and it was something that they were playing with the entire season. I mean, when they went and they saw, the former super soldier, Stacey, what was his name again?
Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah, right. Isaiah. When they went to see Isaiah, they acknowledged the problem, and he's like, nobody's going to want to see a Black Captain America, and he's aware of that. He was like, we have to confront this, and that was, I think, what they were kind of going to. But yeah, it felt very like end of G.I. Joe 1980s, where somebody comes in and is like, here's why this is a problem, but don't do it, kids. G.I. Joe, real American hero. It didn't feel natural. I think like one of the things that I love about the Marvel stuff is that it doesn't generally feel forced, but I agree with you. It did feel a little forced.
Yeah, it felt scripted, that was memorized.
Like, did he have like a
a teleprompter
or something?
Someone's feeding it into his ear and he's like, blah, 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 blah. Sam, say this.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I think it was, everything was just kind of moving in that direction, and whether or not that was just like writing or whether they realized it was coming off as cheesy, I don't know. But I got chills when they changed the title of the series to Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that was great.
Because I think, like, even people who knew that Sam would eventually be Captain America, if they were fighting it for whatever reason, it was like, yeah, well, it's happening. So there you go. Yeah.
I liked it. I was just like, yes. The one thing that had to grow on me as, the week passed since I've watched it was, what are my thoughts and feelings of his costume? Because, pressing concerns. And my friend, when we were watching it, she's like, all right, let me know, like, because when you see the whole thing, let me know your thoughts, because I have opinions. And I was like, well, you're ahead of me, so I'll get there. And the funniest thing is, because I was talking with someone else, that when you see him for the first time in the new, like, Captain Soldier and everything, and I'm just like, okay, it's bright, but why is his head not protected? Why does he have no helmet?
That.
Because it just has the, like, his, like, visor thing and, like, around, but, like, nothing.
Okay,
as if people can envision.
As Falcon, he doesn't have anything. Like, he just has like the goggles or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was almost expecting, like, and maybe this was like a little bit too much, like, how like Black Panthers, like his, like, he had like a lot of stuff built into his, that, like all the vibration stuff and whatever. Like, I was almost expecting like the new Captain America costume to have some of that stuff built into it, but I guess that kind of doesn't match like
the aesthetic.
the Captain America thing, you know?
Yeah.
I just thought because like the Wakandans like made adjustments to it that it would have like more stuff or whatever, but
I didn't even think of that. Because if you even look at Bucky's arm, like not that it looks so like adjusted, but even like the coloring of it, like I guess I thought his outfit would be darker, not having the white highlighted on it.
mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, you stand out in the crowd.
There he is.
I was just like, that's very bright. Not what I thought. I didn't hate it. My friend's like, I hate it. It's ugly. It's this. And by the end of the episode, she's like, it's growing on me. And I was like, okay.
I think I really liked it. And I think, I mean, I had to kind of look it up, whether or not it actually was vibranium. I mean, I think that they were implying that it was, but.
Like, I wonder, is it even like, is it bulletproof? Like, I don't know.
I'm like, gonna say yes, just because the Wakandans made it.
I don't know.
And his wings too, I think, are supposed to be vibranium. But again, you know, like they didn't. I mean, with all of the speech where they were like, okay, let's talk about this and make it very super obvious what we're talking about. They didn't say, but I have a vibranium suit and wings. So.
Shield.
Yes, as opposed to John Walker's shield, which did not do very well, even though he made it out of his metals.
The homemade one,
the dirt shield. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
When Sam has his first like fight with the French guy, like as Captain America, like when he like busts through the window and he's like having this fight. And he's like using the shield and he's going back and forth with this guy. I kept waiting for like, and this might sound like kind of dumb. I kept waiting for like the shield to come back to Sam, like Thor's hammer or something, like a couple times the shield like fell on the ground and I kept waiting for the shield to like fly up into his hand or something. And I'm like, no, but it's not Thor's hammer. I don't know. It was like one of those things. I'm like, oh yeah.
He has what is it, Red Wing? Is that what that little ship is? That's almost like a mini Jarvis, that so I mean, and I was thinking about this, just like his suit in general. So you have all of that, but then it's almost like a little bit of a callback to Iron Man because he has the jetpack and he has his little android companion that tells him who's the flight expert in the helicopter. So that was kind of cool too, because that's a whole other take on Captain America, who is, heart and super soldier serum.
Yeah, but I mean I like it because I know in the comics like Red Wing is like legit Falcon, like a real living breathing animal in the comics. So it's interesting to see it, that he's kind of like a good blend of, I feel like Sam, whether as Falcon or Captain America, is a good blend of like Tony and Steve, the tech and like knowing modern life versus the soul and morality of Steve.
And here both of those Avengers are gone, but no way, he's taking on the mantle of both of them under the helm of Captain America.
Well, because I mean, he kind of shows in the first one, because a lot of people talked about addressing how the show addresses like how the Sokovia Accords like could have been, like how it could have been better and done as opposed to what happened in the movie. And, Sam shows like you can be respectful of the other countries and boundaries. In the first episode, when they're like, you can't go past the border, like that's not friendly space. And he makes sure he doesn't. So, I mean, I think he sees what the OG Avengers, the leaders of the Avengers, Steve and Tony, like wanted to do. And I think he's smart enough with the know-how and his common sense to be like, all right, like, we got to be better.
So we're left with Evil Sharon, a new Captain America, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who's probably going to be wondrous and evil at some point in the future.
Call me Val.
Yes.
But also,
But
we're
don't.
letting like a healed Bucky.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, he's like reconciled things, and I think that's a good thing.
And he's being adorable with Sarah and her family. Letting
It was great, you know.
it was so great. I
like
mean,
seeing
yeah.
him at the end at the party.
Yeah, I was reading somebody's.
He even brought a cake. That's awesome. You know?
Yes, yes. Although I was reading somebody's take on it that, like, in their mind, Bucky now learns to bake because Sarah takes him aside and says, "Thank you, but you know, you're not supposed to bring a store-bought cake to a cookout." And then he's like, "Oh, I didn't know," and then learns how to bake everything, which I think is just. I love Bucky, so that's just
I think
adorable.
that would be in line. But I mean, not only this is where like my nerdiness of fan fiction comes in, because I read a lot of it, especially Marvel, of that, you know, a way to cope as healing, which I don't know if it's in the comics, but a lot of people use baking as like, you know, to de-stress and go through everything and just something enjoyable to do. And a lot of people actually like write fanfic of Bucky like takes to baking and cooking. And I'm like, I'd watch a show of that, of just like baking with Bucky. What are we making today?
I love
Disney,
it.
get on it.
Yeah, Disney, come on.
No, I mean we leave off with that, which is going to be interesting because Disney did announce with Marvel that, you know, Captain America 4 is coming out, and the showrunner, I forgot his name for Falcon Winter Soldier, is helming the new movie. So things are going to get addressed.
It's a whole new ball game, and we have Loki to look forward to. So
Yeah, Loki's coming in June. That's exciting. I'm thrilled to see where it's all going to tie in together with stuff, because while there's not a bunch of connections between WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, you have the introduction of another government group in WandaVision of Sword. Yeah, Sword's the new one. And then you have the connection of how people dealt with the blip and the aftermath of things happening. But you get the premise, and I'm so excited for this, of Young Avengers. So you meet characters in WandaVision. You have Wanda's two children, Billy and Tommy, that are introduced, that are part of this.
Speed at some point in the future.
And then Isaiah's grandson, Eli,
yes,
also becomes a Young Avenger. So I'm curious to see how that'll be teed up, because I know the Hawkeye TV, I think it's a TV show. Don't quote me on that. Kate Bishop gets introduced. So
all good stuff.
It just means we have a lot more to talk about in the future of how this is all going to be connected.
Yeah. You know, I think so. All right, you know, we're gonna have to do an episode. Someone's gonna have to explain it to me, like how they come back from the blip. Like, isn't it explained in one of the Spider-Man? Like, is it Spider-Man Homecoming or like?
Yeah, Spider-Man
Far From Home, or one of them. Like, I don't know. I don't know that I get it.
It's confusing because it's
like, I don't know. We can do an episode on it.
Yeah, sure.
But okay, we're gonna have to do an episode, so I'm gonna have to rewatch. I forgot what episode of WandaVision it is, where it's Maria's. Is that Maria?
Right? It's I think it's 4. I think it's the 4th episode.
Rewatch that. Rewatch Spider-Man Far From Home, because they all address it differently. Like, because you have in WandaVision where like it seems like it had just happened, and this is like, bam, an isolated incident in New Jersey. Then you have Falcon Winter Soldier where, there's all these refugee people, and this is a big global concern, and we're trying to figure it all out. Which is interesting that both of these come after Spider-Man Far From Home, where Spider-Man Far From Home doesn't address any of that, just that it happened and it's 5 years, people lost, and some people aged. And a spoiler for if no one's seen the movie, he goes off to, you know, Europe, and things aren't that different. So I'm kind of just like,
But then, like, in Endgame, you know, like at the end of Endgame, Peter Parker's like in high school, you know, like, and he sees his best friend again. And
yeah.
It's like,
all right. So next on show notes, the blip. Because we only have a few minutes left.
But yet in episode 6 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're dealing with the GRC, and Sam's like, you know, you got people living in houses of people that blipped and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a little confused.
Me too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I kind of forget.
they need to go more into that.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Marvel, release the press statement that we could discuss and understand more. Thank you.
All right, everybody. This was super fun. And we'll see you next time.
Woohoo.